Saludos muy especiales desde el podcast por Canal 13. Mi nombre es Alejandro Marín y hoy tenemos doble episodio con invitados muy especiales. Dos de ellos hacen parte de la banda Coldplay, uno de los grupos más importantes del mundo, que están listos para lanzar su nuevo larga duración. El noveno de su carrera se llama Music of the Spheres. De ahí ya conocemos dos canciones. Una de ellas se llama Coloratura y es una canción al estilo de Pink Floyd, producida por el sueco Max Martin. Otra de ellas ya conocemos muy bien porque está en todas las radios, se llama Higher Power. Y en esta ocasión estamos hablando con los Coldplay a propósito de esa colaboración con uno de los suecos más importantes de los últimos 20 años, productor de Britney Spears, de Katy Perry y de muchos artistas más, de su llegada a Colombia por primera vez, por segunda vez también, y de las expectativas sobre lo que será 2022 para esta, la banda más importante del Reino Unido en el mundo del pop alternativo. Ellos son Coldplay en el podcast por Canal 13. How you guys doing?
Hey Alejandro, nice to see you.
Nice
We're
to
doing
see
great,
you
thank you.
Nice to see you too. It's great to see you once again. I mean, we've seen you a couple times here in Colombia live, and it's always been an experience. And now that the whole thing is virtual, well, it's kind of not the same thing, but
no,
it's
you're
great.
right. You're right. It's very hard to replicate the energy of 50,000 Colombians in a stadium over Zoom.
Well, what do you remember the most about those two experiences? You know, it's been, you know, it's been a minute since we've been in concerts, so I'm pretty sure that you guys miss it. What do you miss the most about, or what do you remember the most to begin with about Colombian audiences?
Well, to start with, it's fair to say, and I think I speak for everyone here, probably all musicians everywhere, that touring, there's no better place to tour than Latin America. We were lucky. We didn't go to Colombia in the first couple of times we came to South America, but then the first time we came, I just remember feeling so excited to see to visit a new country, and obviously the reputation of Colombian music fans is legendary. So I just remember the intensity of the audience reaction and the just colourful and vibrant, and there really is the best possible place to play music in the world. So you're right, we have really missed it, and I think whenever conditions allow, whenever people tell us that we're okay to start playing concerts again, then it's certainly, we would rather play nowhere else in the world than in South America. So we'll be back down there as soon as we can. But yeah, always just wonderful, positive memories, amazing food, amazing culture, amazing people, just the best.
Guy, what's it been like for you these year and a half that we've been on lockdown?
Well, you know, it's been a very strange and unusual period of time, you know, for everybody. You know, for us, you know, creatively, we had to figure out how we could work together, how we could push things forward, how we could make music. I don't think we faced the biggest challenges of, you know, people in general, you know, but it was, you know, it was unusual, and we had to, you know, try and figure out how and when and where we could record together at certain periods of time, which was challenging. You know, there was a few occasions where there were certain countries where the rules would allow us all to travel in and work there, and you know, within the rules that and the boundaries that the governments had set out. And we've just had to learn to communicate like everyone else, you know, remotely. You know, we talk to each other, you know, every week on like a Zoom call, you know, so we can kind of, you know, keep conversations flowing. But, you know, like everyone else, we've missed seeing friends and family, and we've missed traveling, and, you know, we're just hoping that we're kind of coming through this phase and seeing the world return to some semblance of normality.
Let's talk about Higher Power, Will, and how the environment, the current world scenario informs or influences the creation of the song.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's, well, first of all, I would say that song was born, I suppose, before any of this craziness really started. But I think like many songs, it takes a while to evolve into its full and final form. And I think it definitely was a product of this strange time that we've been in. And I think it was, from the moment we started working on it, we knew, I think, that it was going to be the song that we would hopefully come back with. And I think, therefore, we were very focused on it being uplifting and energetic and bright and colourful and a sort of breath of fresh air, and hopefully a little thing that would just remind people that there are good times to come. So I think we wanted to make sure that it felt very positive and upbeat and energetic and just fun. You know, we love playing that song. It's a lot of fun to play. And so it just, yeah, it was definitely, it became a bit of a sort of, what's the word? Just a very important foundation for the record and for the way that we were feeling about what this next bunch of songs has to be, which is about positivity and trying to remind people of the power that music has to bring people together.
Guy, how long did it take you guys to get to the final version of the song?
Well, we've been very lucky to work with Max Martin, who's been, producing with us, and I have to say he's, as his reputation would, sort of precedes him. He's very, very efficient in the studio. So, we had some ideas, of song structures and some parts, and he's really been a great kind of person who's been sort of sitting in the hot seat and pushing everything to the end in a very efficient manner. So I think that song really came together very quickly. Mm.
Will, that's got to be like surreal to work with this guy who just, grabs a song or a few chords or whatever it is that you guys do in the studio when you work your magic and just turns it into a bona fide hit immediately. It was like when we got the song, we do top 40 radio here. And
yes.
When we got the song, it was like, you don't need to think about it. This is something that people are gonna enjoy. First of all, it's Coldplay. Second of all, it's just a big song.
Well, I think one of the exciting things for a band with our history, and we've been together for a long time. We've been making music together for a long time, and it's only recently that we've started to increase our circle of trust in terms of people that we let into the very middle of the creative process. And when we started working with Max, it just happened so quickly. It was so clear that he's so brilliant and he knows just exactly what a song requires. It was so evident so quickly that it was such a safe pair of hands. And I think quite often we really, as a band in our position, really need someone. We need to have real trust in someone in order to give them that sort of, what's the word? That amount of control and power, and it's just such a relief, to be honest. It's really wonderful relief to have someone who really knows what they're doing and whose opinion that we trust sonically, but also song-wise and structure and all of these brilliant things that he brings to the table. It was just such a. It's like you finally met it's like you're a great football team and you finally get the best football manager in the world and he's like, don't worry, I've got this, and then suddenly you start scoring goals and winning trophies. So it's a great feeling.
Loved you guys at Glastonbury, even though there was no audience. It was an amazing show. I thought it was great. I saw one of the shows from Viva la Vida or Death and all his friends on cable TV the other day with my wife. It was amazing. It was like, oh my God, we got to have these guys come back to Colombia soon. Thank you very much for taking the time. It's been great. Loving Higher Power and loving whatever comes next, guys.
Thank you,
Alejandro.
Thank you so much.
It's
lovely to talk to you.
Gracias por continuar en esta edición del podcast por Canal 13. Mi nombre es Alejandro Marín y en esta segunda parte de esta edición me acompaña Napalm, una de las cantantes más importantes del mundo, de las más codiciadas y envidiadas también. Drake quiere trabajar con ella, Beyoncé Knowles quiere trabajar con ella. Su banda Hiatus Kaiyote ha estado nominada a los premios Grammy en ocasiones anteriores por discos increíbles como Raise Your Weapon. Ha trabajado con artistas muy importantes del hip hop de Nueva York como Q-Tip, The Abstract. Acaban de lanzar un disco llamado Mood Valiant. Es un disco tremendo en el que incluyen influencias de Brasil, de Colombia, influencias de Neo Soul y muchas cosas más. Y en esta conversación quiero que la conozcan y entiendan un poco lo que pasa por la cabeza de una figura que ha pasado por todo tipo de experiencias, desde trabajar en la calle hasta sufrir una mastectomía y mucho más. Es una gran conversación con una de las artistas más innovadoras de nuestros tiempos. Ella se llama Napalm y está aquí en el podcast por Canal 13.
There he is, man of the hour.
Man, I wish I could have recorded that. That's one of the greatest greetings I've ever gotten in my life. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Good to hear you. Good to hear your voice. Good to see you. Good to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
Where are you?
I'm at home in Melbourne, Australia. It's raining. It's winter.
All right.
Horrible.
Oh, really? How long does winter take over there?
I mean, it depends. Really, it's kind of a bit tricky, like maybe with global warming and things, but like usually like 3-4 months.
All right. Okay. My sister was brought up over there in Perth.
Ah, okay. It's the most isolated city in the entire world.
I know. They also say
Crazy.
it's the biggest, like, serial killer farm per capita.
What? Why did she move there? That's crazy.
I don't know. She was going to school. I don't know. You know.
Right. Also, the beaches are nice.
Yeah, that's what they say. That's what they say. Yeah. Listen, what you've been up to? Tell me everything. Listen, I've been listening to the 3 new songs over and over again because I love them. You know.
You love it, thank you.
No, it's really cool. I mean, and I've been playing them on the radio like crazy, you know.
Hey, actually, we have a song. It's not out yet, but we have a song on the record called Rosewater, and it actually features the gaita flute from Colombia.
Really?
Yeah, I used to sing in a cumbia band before I was in hiatus. Just to kind of like learn songs in Spanish, like todo la momposina and shit like that. But like, so my friend used to play gaita, the flute in this band, and yeah, so he recorded some flutes. You'll hear it when it comes out. You'll hear it. It's like, it's very special to me, this particular song.
Why'd you get into cumbia? I want to know everything about that.
Just because like my best friend was from Colombia. So it was just like a way to get used to performing. It's like when I was younger, it's a lot easier to perform other people's songs. It takes a lot of courage to sing your own experiences. So it was like just a way to like learn some Spanish, drink some like aguardiente, and like get used to performing, you know? Yeah, but it was cool. So
you still friends with her?
Yeah. He actually.
Oh, okay. With him. I'm sorry.
Him. I have a few friends from Colombia, but like he was like my like bestie. But he's still a good friend. But he moved to another state, so I don't see him as much. He moved to Sydney.
You mentioned the courage that it takes to actually get on stage, perform your own songs, and actually writing them and recording them. How long did it take you to get to that point?
I mean, it kind of just happened naturally, like before I was, I've always sung, but before I was performing as a musician or with Hiatus, I was performing with Fire. I was a Fire performer. And so that's kind of how I started getting comfortable on stage. And then I joined the cumbia band to get used to singing on stage. And then like maybe 6 months later, I was playing solo, and Bender from the band saw me play, and he helped me put a band together. And like 10 years later, I'm still doing it. You know, it's a cool job.
What's a fire performer?
Like fire dancing, so like poi and stuff, and like I have a video for my solo stuff for a song called Homebody, and I'm in a lake and I have 2 swords made out of fire. Like that. If you want to check it out, go look this video up and you'll see. And I used to do it for like rich people to pay my rent when I was young.
Why'd you get into that?
I don't know. I just like fire.
Yeah.
They don't call me napalm for nothing. You know, I like fire.
Wow. That's I have to be honest that I have to say that I just figured this out. Since English is not my native language, so you just said they don't call me napalm for nothing, and it's like, oh, I get it.
Yeah. Well, it was actually like napalm was my performer name because I was doing fire dancing. So before I was doing music, I was doing that, and my name is Nay, is short for Naomi. So napalm was like a fire performing name. And then when I started playing music, I'm like, I'll just keep it.
Where's that name from? Where are you from?
I'm from Australia, but I think Nay is short for Naomi. I think, I'm not sure. I think the origins are like Hebrew or something.
Okay. So tell me about the new music and tell me about the new songs and picking the courage to get the new songs going forward. Tell me everything about it. Other than the songs that include the gaita, which is something that I look forward to listening pretty soon. When's that one coming out?
I think it's coming out with the album. There's actually 2 songs with gaita because it's like the song is called Rosewater, but before Rosewater is like an interlude called Hush Rattle, where we got the flute and we actually slowed it down and then made another song just out of the flutes. Because in Rosewater, like you can hear it, but only if you really listen for it. And I really wanted people to listen to it. So I was like, okay, let's just like do a little song beforehand so people have to listen to it. Because I love it. It's like there's a song by Todo la Momposina called Kurura. And it's just like, it's like saves me, this song. And so it was really important for me to have this instrument on the album. But there's we've been really blessed to collaborate with a lot of different artists on this record, and one of them being Arthur Verkai, who's like a Brazilian composer. And we went to Rio and he recorded this amazing like strings and horn arrangement. And after the recording session, I got to go to the Amazon in Brazil, and I spent some time with the Varinawa community there. And so there's actually, without meaning to, there's like quite a lot of South American like influence in this particular album. It was really beautiful, you know, to be exposed to lots of different styles of music and work with these artists.
So you go to the Amazon because you get to work with Verkai? Is that the dynamics of it?
Well, I went to Rio, to Brazil, and my friend Ana, she's Carioca, she's from Rio, and she is friends with a pajé, who's like a medicine man or like a shaman. And she's friends with him, and he invited her to meet his family. And I just happened to be there. I was like in Brazil. She's like I could have flown home, but she was like, I'm going to the Amazon. Do you want to come? I was like, hell yeah, let's go. So it was kind of just like a last minute thing, but it like changed my life. It was so beautiful. And I've always wanted to go. So I was really fortunate that I had a friend who could and we stayed with the family, and it was really beautiful.
Why did it change your life? What parts of your life were changed by this experience in the Amazon?
I mean, I think I've always been I have a deep adoration for the natural world. Like in Australia, it's so beautiful. Like the desert, we have the rainforest, we have beaches. You know, I grew up with a a family of people that raised like native wildlife, doing wildlife caring. So it's a part of who I am. And so it's really beautiful for me to go to other countries and see what the natural world is like there. But I think why it moved me so much is because, you know, when we were recording this album, I got a breast cancer diagnosis, which was very massive, you know, and it's the same illness that I lost my mother to. Like my mother died of it when I was 11. And so when you go through something like this, you have to be in hospital, and it's lots of tests, and it's very, you know, bright lights and tests and sterile and things. And so the thing that was really powerful for me when I went to the Amazon is they have such a strong understanding of medicine, natural medicine, you know. And so it was such a different contrast from being in a Western medical world to being in the middle of the jungle. And like I had this medicine called kambo, which is like a frog poison. And basically, like, I'm from the age of 1, all the children in the tribe, they have it every 6 days. And basically, like, you feel like you're gonna die. It's like poison. Like your face swells up. It's crazy. But what it does is it like you purge all of the toxins in your body. And so like half an hour later you feel really weak, but like 2 hours later you're like clear and strong. And they take it for the hunting as well. So, you know, like just that amazing wisdom and understanding of the medicines of the natural world, I think was really eye-opening for me, especially having to go through all of this other, you know, like Western medicines. It was nice to see like the other side of it.
Tell me about that experience of, you know, tell me about the breast cancer experience and, you know, and producing an album while living that experience. What was that
Yeah,
like?
it's crazy. I mean, so like we recorded most of the songs, like the music of the songs. The last thing that you do usually is vocals. So you get everything else in order and then you record the vocals. And right before it was time for me to record the vocals, I got sick. So I had this whole album sitting there. And then I was basically faced with my mortality. You know, it's like, you don't know how much time you have. And, you know, it scares the shit out of you. But it also was kind of like liberating, because when I was healthy enough to get back in the studio, you don't have the little voices in your head that tell you like, you're not good enough, or like all artists, you know, all human beings, it doesn't matter how confident you are. There's always those little voices that are like harass you, you know? So after I got after I came through the other side of my illness, I didn't care for them anymore. I was like, okay, this is your life. You've been given more life. What are you gonna do with it? And it became really liberating, you know, like to be in the studio and to not care if people, you know, what people think of it. It was more about the urgency to truly express my life force. And to be honest, I think it's like the most sincere thing I've ever made. And as an artist, that's what you hope to achieve, you know, sincerity and honesty. So it was massive.
When that happens, how do you maintain the mindset? Because it's okay to say it. When you go through a life-changing or a couple life-changing experiences, you feel as though you could maintain the mindset for the rest of your life. But the truth is, the voices do come back, don't they? Or
yeah, I guess you have to work at it, you know? Like most lessons in life, they don't just come once. They come back, they knock on your door and they're like, yo, you still keeping up with that, you know, with that inner confidence or whatever. So it is something you have to maintain. But, you know, I guess for me, it wasn't the first trauma in my life. Like, it was very big, but you know, I'm an orphan. I've been homeless. I've had a crazy life. So it's it was just another step. It was another step. And the beautiful thing about being an artist is when you have real emotion to translate, you know, it means it gives you more depth, and it gives you more of a reason to share it with people. And I think it gives me a sense of real purpose, you know, and so I wouldn't change it for anything, you know. Like, if someone said you could have your life again, but it's easy, like, I don't want that, because I am you are who you are because of how you grow and adapt and how you deal with your experiences. It makes you. So I wouldn't change it, you know.
Who raised you?
I raised me.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
Well, I mean, I've been independent since I was like 14. But yeah, like, after my mother died, I lived in, I don't know, do you have like foster care over there?
Yeah,
like,
we do.
Yeah, so I was like in the foster care system, but I moved with lots of different people, you know?
But they were not family.
No. Well, my father died like 2 years after my mother, and he wasn't in the picture anyway. So, you know, and no grandparents. So it's just me and my 5 siblings, and we were all split up. So I was just like in the system. And there's a thing here that if you don't have a guardian, then like, it's a really old lore, but basically like the Queen of England, you become like the property of the Queen of England. So, you know, I was like, maybe one day I'll go to England to like knock on the door of the palace and be like, hello, it's me, your daughter from Australia. But yeah, I mean, this is the thing is I didn't have parents for a long time, but I always had love, you know. I've always found love, and I find family with the people. Like, you create your family, you choose your family, and that was ingrained in me from a young age. So, but from the age of 14, I was like living in share houses, and how I paid my rent was fire performance. It was because it was like cash in hand, you know. You just like spend some shit, someone gives you some money, and you know, you pay your rent. And that's why I like living alone now, because I lived in these share houses from a very young age.
How long have you lived on your own?
As long as I could afford it. It's expensive to live alone in this city, you know. But probably like 5 years or something.
5 years.
Yeah.
Now that you mention homelessness, I was watching Nomadland the other day, and I was talking to, and I was reading this critic who said something about homelessness that I'm not sure if it resonates with you or not. He said something like, you know, being homeless is really tough because not many people get out of homelessness. It's something that, you know, kind of destroys the human spirit to a point that you don't ever come back to society, you know. What was that like for you?
I mean, this is the thing. I could have had a very different life. You know, I was very young. I was like 15 years old when I moved back to the city, and I had nothing and I had no one. But how I actually got into fire dancing was there was a park, and I didn't feel safe at nighttime, so I would stay awake all night, go to like clubs or whatever, dance, be awake, and then I would sleep in the daytime in the park because I felt it's like safer, you know. And so there was this one park I used to go to, and every Wednesday they had a big fire and all like a bonfire, and then all these performers, like circus performers, would train there. So this is how I got into it. It was was like, it was at this park that I used to go to like during the day to sleep. And one day I was like walking past at night and I saw the fire and it got my attention. And to be honest, it kind of saved me, you know, like, and it's how I made friends. I slept on couches, you know, and because this is the thing is when you're 15 years old, people don't want to live with you. It's like, they're like, how are you going to pay the rent? I don't want to have to look after you. So this community opened me up to like being able to live in share houses. And then also once I learned how to do it, I could make money from it, you know? But you're right, you know, like it was a choice. It was a choice because when you feel really broken by your opportunities or lack of opportunities in the world, you know, especially like being homeless, having no parents, and I'm lucky because at least I was in Australia, you know, like we have like clean running water, you know, and for me, I'm grateful for really simple shit like that. But there was a point where I was like, you know, I was like going out a lot and like experimenting with like hallucinogenic drugs at a really young age. And I actually like one day it just changed and I enrolled myself into school. I was in and out of school my whole upbringing. And when I was 15, I was like, okay, I need structure. I need this for myself or else I'm going to like fall apart. And I enrolled myself in school, like a community school, like a very chill school. And just having some kind of routine in my day was enough to kind of get the ball rolling to, you know, I mean, and to be entirely honest with you, like, I don't know what I would be if I wasn't a musician. You know, I got lucky. It's my whole life and it's what I've always known I've wanted to do. And it's, you know, from the age of like 17, I was performing and stuff. And, you know, I'd probably be like working in a cafe or something if I wasn't, you know, flying around the world making albums. So I'm really fortunate that I have music, you know, because the arts is a tool. It's a cathartic tool that can like save you, you know, and I'm really fortunate that I learned these skills to help process my understanding of the world and feel all right, you know.
When did you start singing?
I've always sung since forever. Yeah.
Ever since you were a kid?
Ever since I was a kid. Like, my mother was an art teacher and a choreographer. And she was a single mother. But, like, so me and my 5 siblings, like, we always have music around the house, you know? Like, we never had anything. We never had money. We never had anything. But we had music. And it was such a, you know, even though we were poor, it was like we had life, we had joy, you know. And so I learned how to sing because, you know, all of my brothers and sisters are musical. Like, we all sing together, and it was just one of those households where that was celebrated, you know. So I never went to school for music, but for me, that was my school, you know, in a way. It's like being exposed to lots of different styles of music and singing harmonies with my siblings, you know. That's how I learned.
Are you still in contact with the siblings?
Yeah, of course. We're super close.
Yeah? How are they doing?
Yeah, they're good. Like, my sister's a Muay Thai kickboxer. Like, because she had like a dance background, so she got into fighting. So she's got like belts and stuff. My little brothers are personal trainers and musicians. My older brother builds boats, you know. We're closer because we don't have our parents, you know. Like, sometimes I hear people who are like fight with their family or fight with their parents, but because we didn't have any, it made our bond stronger, and we know what it's like to lose life, so we don't take it for granted. And it was especially hard for them when I got my breast cancer diagnosis, because there's already been so much loss there, and our mother died from it, and then one of their sisters gets the same illness. It's a lot. So we haven't been able to see each other a lot lately because of the virus, but we hang out a lot.
Yeah. What do
When we can.
the doctors say about your condition now? How are you doing now?
I'm all right. I got lucky. Some people find out when it's too late, and I had a mastectomy, and now I have this really beautiful tattoo there, and there's like a lot of pressure to get reconstruction, like a fake titty or whatever. But for me, it's like, why? I don't want to carry some like silicone thing around. Like it's all right for some people, but for me, I'm like, nah, just get rid of it, Like, so I cut it off. Also, the Amazonians, not the Amazon like the rainforest, but ancient Amazonians, there's a myth or like folklore that they used to cut the right breast off so they would be better at archery and they would be better hunters. So after my surgery, one of my friends from Iran, she's from Iran, and she's very beautiful. Her name's Afsane.
Is she there? Is she there? She just seems to be looking over there.
I'm looking at she gave me a Mongolian hunting bow.
Oh, okay.
And like brought it into the hospital, like snuck it in. She's like, "It's okay. You've got one titty, but now you're gonna be good at archery." It's like you lose something, you gain something.
Are you gonna get into archery for real?
Yeah, I'd love to. I have like a really good bow and some really good arrows. I like every time I want to go and like learn COVID, just like it's crazy. It's like shut down. I'm trying to learn how to drive too, but same deal.
Was it interesting when you got nominated for a Grammy? Like, I remember seeing. Did you win it in the end? I don't remember.
No, we've been nominated for 2 now.
Right.
The first one we lost to Layla Hathaway, but she's literally sings 3 notes at a time. I was like, okay, if anyone's gonna cheat me out of my Grammy, let it be the daughter of Donny Hathaway singing 3 notes at one time. Like, come on, like,
please.
I was like, take it. So that was like the first one, and then the second one was, when it happens twice, it's like the first time you're like, okay, this could just like be a fluke or whatever, but when it happens again, you're like, okay, maybe we're onto something. But the second one lost out to The Weeknd, like a song from like the like this movie 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, earned
it was like but it's just like an honor to be nominated, especially when you're just a random band from Australia, like with our first Grammy nomination, like I wrote that song before the band, so I would have been like 17, 18 years old when I wrote it, and then I would never imagine that would land me a Grammy nomination. That like I was watching a movie about the Temptations, and there's a scene where they win their first Grammy for My Girl, which is like one of the biggest songs of all time. And the category they were nominated for was the same category we were nominated for. And like Beyonce's first Grammy was the same category, like R&B performance, so just to be invited into like the heritage of that was massive. It was it's like, even if you don't win it, it's just like to be recognized is a great feat, especially when we're like all the way over here in Australia and just kind of winging it.
Absolutely. No. And that's, kind of like where those two worlds connect in such an interesting way, in the sense that you're not making music to please a market. You're doing it because you believe in what you're, performing, writing, singing, producing. But at the same time, you're in the radar of the Academy, and that gives you visibility. And
for sure.
And I wanted to,
The interesting thing about that is like the symmetry between like being kind of selfish artists, in the sense of like we just make what we want to make because we love to. That's it. Not to be entertainers, but we like, as well as the Grammy nomination, having artists like Drake sample us, and like I worked with him on his follow-up album as well, and like, or like Beyonce sampling us is the crazy thing. It's like I saw
this is
Drake
what I'm sorry, you got cut off.
This is the crazy thing is is that we're on the radar. I have no idea how these artists heard our music, and not only are they aware of it, but they're using it in their art and exposing us like to their fan base, and so it's kind of like this tightrope between like we have one foot in the mainstream because of people with great following and accolades sampling us, but we're also kind of niche and like unknown as well. And it's this really strange kind of dynamic where we can do what we want, but we still get like the attention of the mainstream world,
When did you watch it for the first time?
It was the day before he tweeted about us. So literally I watched it, and then I woke up in the morning and then Prince was tweeting about me, and I was like, whoa, that's weird. So I think like maybe 2012, 2013.
That's gotta be crazy. That's gotta be definitely crazy.
Yeah, especially because I was like, eventually I'll get around to watching it, and I finally watched it, and then the next morning I'm like, he's like telling people to listen to my music. So Chivalry's Not Dead, I wrote the melody singing over I always forget the name of the Beautiful Ones, which is the song playing in the sex scene on Purple Rain. So I was just singing along to that, and that's where the melody came from. And then so, after like Prince had like tweeted about us, and like he like came and saw us play in Minneapolis, which was terrifying. I had the flu, and he sat on the side of the stage, and he was wearing sunglasses, and he was just staring like this the whole time, and it was terrifying. But like, so we used.
Did you guys know? Did you guys know he was gonna be there?
Well, he invited us to play at his house like 3 times, but we couldn't go, which I was so gutted about. I was like, let's just cancel our tour. I want to go and check out his wardrobe. But yeah, so I mean, and that's the thing is like he invited us because he saw us on like Arsenio Hall show, and so he knew we were in LA. Because this is the thing, he's a unicorn. He just does it randomly. He'll be like, come to my house tomorrow. And it's like, well, we can't because we got a sold out show in Chicago, and we'll get sued by the promoter if we just cancel it. Like, even if it's, and for me being an artist, I was like, let's just go. It's Prince. But, I've got respectable management that are like, this is not a good idea. So eventually he came. I knew we were on his radar. But eventually, like, we were playing in Minneapolis, and he came to us, which was cool. And so when it came to writing and recording Chivalry is Not Dead, I wanted to give it like we listened to a song by The Time called 7779311. Yeah. So like the drum tones in the drum tones in the intro is like so fly, So thematically for the song, we were referencing The Time because initially I wrote it to like a Prince sex scene, and then also it was about sex, but like weird animal sex. So every song is very thematic in that way, It's like and we're kind of nerds, and there's lots of Easter eggs and stuff. And so that just watching Purple Rain and Prince tweeting about us influenced the way that we made a song, because it was like he was part of that narrative, you know? Plus, it's just cool and fun to do. Like, it's the only time that Ben has ever played slap bass. He's like allergic to slap bass, but he's like, for this song, you know,
I'll do it.
Also, I'll do it for this song. Also, if it's like, you know, if it's a song about sex, it's like, who covers that theme better than Prince? You know, like he's the OG freaky one. You know, so yeah, it was like a little ode to that interaction and his support for us as musicians and stuff like that. But yeah, chivalry is not dead is like, that's his saying, is like chivalry is dead because, you know, people don't open doors for you or like get the check or what, this like kind of old school, you know, like imbalance between the two sexes or whatever. And so that's why I wanted to use examples in the animal kingdom that is like, it's a whole nother thing. Like leopard slugs, I'm pretty sure they're hermaphrodites. They're both, you know? And so it's kind of like a little joke. Like the fact that it's like chivalry is not dead is like, there's still romance, but I'm going to give you some really like nerdy examples, like the romance of like, you know, a hummingbird or something. It's kind of like a quirky take on a very typical subject that I feel like is covered a lot, but just trying to do something else with it. A new perspective, perhaps.
And it starts quirky, and then it gets really funky, and it gets really, you know, sexy, and you get it.
They're slap bass. They're 7779311 drum tones.
Listen, you can't imagine how psyched I am about hearing the entire thing, man. I mean, it sounds like a blast, and I'm sure you guys are gonna, you know, knock it out the stadium with this one, of course, as you do with everything that you guys do. And I can't be more pleased and happy to have had this conversation with you. I really, really thank you for taking the time. It's been great meeting you, and
you too.
And I invite you personally to come to Colombia. I hope we can work with your management or your booking agency, because I would love for the station to have you perform for our audiences. I would love to introduce them to you live. I've already done it, you know, on radio, and I definitely look forward to seeing you here in South America. It'd be great.
I would adore that. I've always wanted to go to Colombia, you know?
I know. I mean, we started talking, mentioning Totó la Momposina, you know.
Look, I even have
Boom, boom, boom.
boom. I'm not lying. Let me come visit you and feed me these.
I promise you, hey.
And frunas. And all the frunas.
Napalm,
Look it up.
It's been great meeting you. It's been great meeting you. Take care. Have a good night. And
thank you.
Once again, I look forward to hearing the whole Chivalry's Not Dead album.
Keep your ear out for Rosewater. Hush, Rattle, and Rosewater are the ones with the gaita.
Will do.
You'll hear it. If you're Colombian, you'll recognize it straight away. But these ones are very special to me.
All right.
Because of this flute.
Sure.
Thank you for all of your love and all of, you know, like hustling our strange art into the mainstream, you know, spectrum, doing the good work. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you and everyone at Hiatus Kaiyote for the music and for taking the time tonight to talk to me. Take care. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, too. Have a great morning.
All right. Bye-bye.
juntos somos más que 13.